Andrew, this was an Indian evacuation flight that they're trying very, very hard to move as many people as they can within this very tight window that the Saudi Air Force has given all of these humanitarian actors, all of these governments trying to get their people out. 4 hours tops to get to Sana'a, get as many people as they can and get out. And we really felt that clock ticking down, because as you come into Sana'a, that sense of just dereliction, that sense of people hiding and fleeing really hits you. Flying down in, many of those streets are empty. We landed on the airport on the tarmac, and the tarmac was pretty much one of the only things in that airport that had been untouched. You can see it in these images that we shot. The perimeter of that airport, where the aircraft hangars were, where a lot of that military craft that the Yemeni government used to be, had been entirely bombed out, Andrew, by the Saudi Air Force. And speaking to those fleeing to safety on this Air India plane with us, they said during the day, during that window that the Saudi Air Force gives them, that's the only time that people really have to exhale, to try and get their bearings, to try and get food for themselves and their families. At night, they say it is absolutely terrifying as the bombs rain down and the bullets are exchanged between those warring factions, Andrew.
How many people can be estimated who are trying to get out now? So I take it these were foreign nationals trying to get out, or was it anybody who was there, Nema?
It was really anybody who was there. Primarily, of course, it was Indian nationals, because it had come through their embassy. But we saw some Yemenis. We saw a lot of other foreign nationals. Yesterday, on one of the ships that came in, they had about 186 foreign nationals. If you can get to the airport, which at the moment is not guaranteed, or you can get to one of the ports on the outskirts of Sana'a, Hodeidah, some of these other ports north of Aden, then either the ships or the aircraft will carry you. But that in and of itself is very hard. And then, of course, you're trying to come through the Houthi-held immigration. Some of these people are just not being allowed out. And in Aden, we understand, the port has changed hands so many times that the Indian ship that did manage to get close to port to bring some of these people out, it took fire, and they had to ferry people on boats out to it. So far, they've evacuated 2,500 people just through this Indian operation. But it's not enough, and it's not over yet, Andrew.
The 81st Squadron of the Indian Air Force, gearing up for its 7th mission in 7 days to Djibouti. It's codenamed Operation Rahat, which means relief in Hindi. This is Hindon Air Base, just an hour outside of New Delhi, where India's biggest ever foreign rescue operation is being launched from. Military planes are not allowed into Yemen's airspace, so this C-17 Globemaster will travel to Djibouti, where hundreds of Indians and other nationals are arriving every day by air and sea. Indian civilian planes carry evacuees from Sana'a, and Indian Navy ships ferrying people from Aden. Even though they're not flying into Yemen, all precautionary measures are being taken for what is effectively a war zone.
If you see this black plating, the black flow, yeah, that's the armor plating. We have armor plating installed in our aircraft, so any bullet or small arm which is fired at this aircraft, the bullets cannot penetrate the cockpit, so the cockpit and the crew is safe.
So this was installed particularly
for this specific mission. Yep.
Even though you're not really flying into Yemen?
But still, we are flying over Somalia. So any country, I mean, wherever we are going for such mission can be a rogue country. So we have to take precautions.
Jets, normally used to carry missiles and tanks, now on a humanitarian mission.
We are trying our best to make them comfortable. We're giving them food. We are making them comfortable in our aircraft and giving them a surety that now the Air Force is in and we are going to get back all of them home.
Most of the Indians evacuated are nurses working in Yemen or migrant workers. So the plane's about to take off for what is effectively one of its last missions to Djibouti. Authorities say there's some 4,000 Indians living in Yemen. Some 3,700 people have been rescued already, and 200 foreign nationals as well. India's evacuation efforts have been recognized. Some 26 countries, including the US, UK, France, and Germany, requested India to help evacuate their own citizens.